This is York Region Transit, and have quite possibly the most interesting fleet in the country, including a one-off bus model with no other examples. Let's dive in. Just like every other agency, except TransLink, York Region Transit, or YRT, operate the D40LF and LFR in the year 2025. Apart from looking bizarre, they have very similar specifications to other later D40 builds. The D40 LFRs are a bit more interesting. Unlike other operators seen on the channel, they don't have the biblical Cummins ISL. They instead feature the Cummins ISL 9 from earlier Excelsior buses. At the same time these particular LFRs were built, Cummins retired their older engines to meet with the EPA's newest emission standards, hence their newer power plants. York Region Transit's LFRs also feature a different transmission from the VIVA DWA family. The German-built trans installed in the LFR is in the middle of their products line and has average torque on acceleration, which is surprisingly more than the Allison B400R6 in the TransLink units. Also, take note of this transmission because every YRT vehicle moving forward is equipped with it. This configuration, along with the Allison variants, would continue production until being superseded by the XT40 in 2013. YRT's current fleet of low-floor family buses were delivered between 2003 and 2010. Another quirky vehicle they have is the Elorado Easyax, which will probably never appear on the channel. That's probably a sign for how successful it was. They were built between 2008 and 2010 and are currently being retired. There is an interesting bus that will appear later on, but before that is the Novas. Like every Canadian operator these days, they feature the standard 40-foot LFS, and they are thriving on YRT's local routes along with the LFS-E, the electric variant being trialed. The Novas of interest today are a lot more exciting, at least anywhere outside of their operating range, the Nova Arctic. Flyer has had and continues to have the articulated bus segment gripped with both hands, leaving very little room for competition, one of the few competitors being NovaBus in 2009. YRT was one of their original customers with the LFX model and are one of 3 operators in Canada. The standard LFS Arctic saw significantly more success with more operators, but the type became an Ontario and Quebec exclusive outside of Halifax and Airdrie, Alberta of all places. Okay, YRT's LFXs, or the BRT variant, were designed with maximum efficiency in mind, and has a very similar layout to TransLink 60-foot hybrids, with the exception of a table near the rear axle. Their vehicles were delivered between 2013 and 2019 in 2 batches. The 2013 group was equipped with the Cummins ISL 9 engine, and the 2019 group with the Cummins L9 widely seen on modern ICE buses today. As for how these buses ride, the Nova Arctic rides like just that, an Arctic. They don't ride as smoothly as their smaller counterparts, but are better than their more common competitor. That's at least something at least. most interesting vehicle in YRT's fleet is the A330. No, not the airliner. It's this thing. The A330 was developed by Dutch busmaker Van Hool in 1997 for European transit companies before their first North American appearance in 2003 for AC Transit in California. Around this time, the D40LF, Nova LFS, and several other players were well established in the market, so as you can imagine, the A330 did not do well. It's not a bad vehicle as it's still being produced to this day, but has only seen 3 operators, with YRT as the only Canadian operator of the type. Upon first impressions, the A330 is a very weird vehicle. Its fascias look completely foreign to any other bus in existence, and the seating layout makes the 2nd gen LFS look normal. This oddball also had an articulated variant, the AG300, which performs similarly in sales. It does have an extra Canadian operator other than YRT, but both have since retired the type in the 2020s. BC Transit's Victoria sector had a similar story with their Dennis Dart vehicles. Like the A330, they were another European, specifically British, vehicle caught in the unforgiving market landscape with components that are logistically challenging to maintain. For this and possibly other factors, the buses were unceremoniously retired after less than 15 years and replaced by the Grande West VinCity. The now 20-year-old A330s could meet the same fate, but they have been refurbished, so they could have a few years left in them. Despite their weird place in history and in the fleet, the model does have a normal powertrain, the standard Cummins ISL engine and YRT's favorite transmission. The interior also features the bus's Euro heritage with a seating layout emphasizing the shorter distance on European streets. Like the Gen 2 Nova, the engine, or at least parts of the engine, are located in the rear section. The A330 and its articulated variant are definitely quirky machines, and an interesting addition to the channel's list of credits, but the weird vehicles from YRT doesn't necessarily stop here. In addition to these things and the Easyax, they also operated the Thomas SLF 235, Orion 6, Nova LFS, wait, that sounds normal. Oh wait, it's the airport shuttle variant. They also ran this thing. No, really, this is real. As As YRT is the first Ontarian agency analyzed on the channel, we need to have a look at their infrastructure. Unlike BC and Alberta, Ontario has a similar method to Texas when it comes to most of their infrastructure. The bigger, the better. This is certainly the case with their highways, like the 403 and TV famous 401, but the transit infrastructure isn't left out in all this, including and not limited to the Richmond Hill Terminal, Vaughan's VIVA transfer station, and this ridiculous yet beautiful thing imported straight out of Transport Fever. There are some pros and cons to this kind of design. There is no doubt, or at least limited doubt, that no compromises were made during the construction and design, but could be a problem logistically. But that's a subject for another video. Despite its unusual quirks, the A330 rides very well with a solid power delivery and smooth suspension that makes the vehicle feel like it's on rails. Van Hool did an excellent job with this vehicle, and I certainly wish that more of these show up in other cities to break up the NFI Nova monopoly. But are there any other vehicles from York Region Transit that I missed out on? Did I get anything wrong here? Feel free to sound off in the comments, and make sure to subscribe to this channel for more transit content.